thrilled to have the opportunity to bring Dr. Jivasu onto the podcast today. And thank you so much, Dr. Jivasu, for joining me. And how are you feeling today? How are things going for you?
It's a wonderful day here, very bright outside, and inside is the same, very bright, pleasant, and I
Yeah.
would say almost blissful.
Wonderful. Where are you right now?
I'm in Hamilton, Canada, which is very close to Toronto.
Oh yeah. Nice. I've never been to Toronto. I hear it's a beautiful city. You're more in the outskirts. Are you in the country?
No, I'm almost in the middle of the city.
Oh wow. Okay, gotcha. What's the temperature there right now? Because it's March. What's the temp?
It's 10 degrees centigrade.
Oh yeah. That's a little more chilly than here in Florida. And so you're happy to be inside, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, but I don't mind cold at all.
Wonderful. And are you originally from India?
Yes, I am, and I'm from northern India, very in the foothills of the Himalayas, where I was born and what.
Wow, awesome. And how old were you when you moved to Canada?
Uh, at the age of 40.
Nice. And
Yeah,
you are a medical doctor?
that's right. By training, I'm a pediatrician, a child specialist.
Wow. Where did you go to school for your medical training?
Yeah, that was again in northern India, quite a famous medical school known as King George's Medical School, Lucknow.
Wow. And did you practice pediatrics in that area before, prior to you moving to Canada?
That's right. I mean, I never practiced for money ever. So after completing my MD, I joined a monastery or ashram in Rishikesh, India. It's
Oh, wow. Wow.
called as Shivananda Ashram,
Wonderful.
and
Nice.
that is where I practice general, so not specifically pediatrics, but seeing all patients whosoever came in ashram hospital.
Can you paint a picture for us what it looked like in the ashram, what ashram life was like at that time when you joined?
Yeah, in those days, Rishikesh was like a village, and Shivananda Ashram was located on the outskirts, on the bank of the river Ganga. So I was living almost with 400 monks. So definitely it was austere life, and almost 24 hours, you can say it was a spiritual life. And
Wow.
so they had a free hospital services within the campus, which serves these monks and also wandering sadhus or seekers and searcher, beggars or whosoever came. They served, and it was all free of cost. And it was
Wow.
a very interesting experience because in those days I was not a spiritual person, but by living there, yes, something transformed in me.
Amazing. Well, I'm so curious to hear more about that. Did you grow up in a family that didn't have a spiritual background, and then being a medical doctor, you were a little more akin toward the scientific study, but then it sounds like the ashram life cultivated some sort of change in you. Is that correct?
Actually, my family was quite religious, quite spiritual, because my mother used to go to the ashram of her guru every year. But I turned to Marxism during my college days, of course,
Yeah.
idealism.
Yeah.
That's right. But when I joined Shivananda Ashram, after 1 year, I had a very big transformative experience. And actually, whatever happened to me after that, and that was 1984, is the result of that single experience.
Are you open to speaking or explaining what that experience was like?
Yes, I would like to, and I will tell you a little bit why that experience happened. I mean, that is at least my theory. So while studying in medical school, I met a Canadian medical student, and it was love at first sight. So again, it was a very big happening because love at first sight is extremely stressful, extremely delightful, but because it is extreme of everything.
Yeah.
In me, it sustained for 2 years with more or less same intensity. And as you know, this kind of love which changes your neurochemistry, neurohormones in your brain, made me vulnerable, I feel, to certain experiences. My brain was more open. So after my medical school, I straight went into this ashram monastery, and slowly I was changing in terms of practicing yoga, practicing meditation, listening to the discourse and lectures and reading. I suppose my brain was completely ready, and I remember June 7, 1984,
Mm.
when I was waking up from my siesta because June is very hot month in India,
Yeah.
and suddenly I felt a massive surge of energy in my body, and it was very physical. And its pressure was so much that my head developed a severe pain.
Ooh.
I thought it could be a brain hemorrhage like thing because I had some high blood pressure in medical school. So it was so agonizing. And when I was thinking about it, again, in certain points of my body, this energy started whirling with tremendous speed. But it was a very frightening experience. So I threw myself off the bed, crawled to the washroom, opened the cold water tap, and as the water was falling on my head, everything calmed down.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, and in the evening, I remember when I came out on the balcony of my apartment and looking at the mountains and the river, everything seemed rather painting-like,
Mm.
as it had no real substance, as if
Wow.
it was made up of paper.
Yeah.
So that was the event.
Wow. Is this something that you had already, would you call this a Kundalini experience?
In those days, I didn't know about it. So I went to one of the chief monks of the ashram and asked, "Sir, I had this experience. Can you explain?" But he couldn't. He just gave a smile, and that was over.
Yeah.
And after this event, what happened spontaneously, I used to fall in almost ecstasy. So I'm walking, and ecstasy was so strong that I felt like dancing in the street.
Mm.
So then I started searching what it is all about.
Yeah.
And I got some idea that it may be what is classified as Kundalini experience. You are right.
Yes. Wow. And I have heard from other accounts that people will often say, be careful what you wish for because it can produce such an intense physical sensations, reaction. Like you said, you felt like your head was, you just said it was like a really intense feeling and that you had to put your head under the water. When students come to you and say, I wish I could have that experience too, do you say, oh, it's wonderful, or do you come at it with a little bit of be careful what you wish for? What are your feelings here on this?
Thing is that whenever a student comes, I always take the history of life because many people are traumatized. They have post-traumatic stress disorder. They are going through anxiety or triggers in the brain. or depression. In those people, I will say, yes, you can embark on this journey, but you have to prepare yourself.
Mm,
You must develop your own healthy identity or sense of self. So just connecting to the very ordinary world, because still you are traumatized. But there are other people who don't have that kind of problem. I will say, go for it. Because like any other path, yeah, it is a risky path, but you are not going to die. You may suffer. You may go through ups and downs,
mm.
but you are okay. But not in the traumatized people.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's amazing, Dr. Jivasu. I love hearing this story. And I also, you mentioned that you're also a Chinese medicine doctor. So,
That's
and so you, when, at what point, if you graduated with your medical degree and then you became a renunciate or went into the monastery, when did you begin your studies into Chinese medicine?
it was after 12 years of my medical school.
Uh-huh.
And one of the reasons was that because we were migrating to Canada, and then I was very clear in my mind what is the purpose of my life. So I didn't want to go into the medicine in Canada because my wife is a family physician here. So I wanted to choose a discipline which will connect to my experiences and simultaneously uh, I'm not going to work for 8 to 10 hours high stress job. So I choose Chinese medicine because it is all related with qi and energy,
Yeah.
and also it is a low intensity job and not stressful.
Yeah. Amazing. Can you share a little bit of insight that you've gleaned in relation to your understanding of the body and medicine from the Western world and or the medical world and the understanding of health and the body from the Chinese model? Can you explain maybe where you see them similar and where you see a vast difference?
There is no vast difference actually. And the reason being that when we see the vast difference, it is a matter of interpretation. Because all these ancient systems, whether Chinese medicine or Kundalini yoga, their interpretation and body and its energy is almost 3,000, 5,000 years old. And also it was based on feeling because in those days we were not dissecting the body, we didn't have MRI and all those investigations. So by observation, by contemplation, they put these systems. But of course, there was a poetic element and there was a cultural element. So it became a little mystical and mythical all. So, but once, I was experiencing, I studied Western medicine and also studied Kundalini yoga and acupuncture. I didn't find any fundamental difference.
Amazing. That's really cool. I recently had a chance to go see a anatomy teacher named Gil Headley offer a talk on he dissected in a cadaver the entire nervous system, brain, spinal cord, and nerves that innervate at the spinal column, and he kind of showed where these nerve plexi are in relation to at the root chakra around about the solar plexus, right behind the heart, in the throat. And he said, I'm not a yogi, but look at these chakras. They're right here. There's these incredible nerve plexi. Can you share a little bit about your understanding of the chakra system in relation to the Western anatomical model?
I think energy needs some medium to flow. So, in the body, this energy is flowing in various tissues, which includes body fascia. To me, that is the most important and still least studied.
Wow.
Of course, then it flows into the nerves and the brain and spinal cord and other tissues. So, yes, the energy flow is particularly concentrated uh, at those nerve plexuses because it's a dense network. And not only nerves, usually at these plexuses, there is a network of arteries and veins also. So it becomes a very powerful kind of center of energy flow, because energy needs medium, just like electricity needs a wire to flow.
Yes.
And because I'm observing this phenomena in me for the last almost 35 years. So to me, I can relate it to very, very clearly by feeling and then confirming through anatomy, through physiology and other investigations.
Oh, that's awesome, Dr. Jivasu. Can you've started a yoga program called Soma Yoga. Can you explain a little bit how this evolution took place for you?
That's right. I mean, up to 3 years ago, I followed a very different system. And 2 years ago, I felt my journey of energy in this body was completed. So my insight, I thought, came to that completion. So I completely moved away from Kundalini yoga or other yogas or naturality yoga. And I put together a complete system of teaching. So it is not yoga. Yoga is a small component of it, which we call somatic yoga. But it is a whole system, like a Buddhist system. So which starts the problems of human world, why they are there, what we can do about those problems, and what will be the result. So I'll give you a synopsis of it. So the
Please.
first question which we ask in Soma, what do we want to attain in this life? All of us, regardless of culture, religion, color, and country. And the answer to that question in Soma is we all want to attain complete health and fulfillment. Of course, some people, they are not in that if they are depressed and all those kind of things. But by and large, whether I'm in politics or in corporation, religion, spirituality, engineering, doctor, it doesn't matter. We all have that impulse that I want a complete health and I want to complete my story of life. I want to feel fulfilled. So that is first question. Second question is, why don't we attain that goal? Because most people actually they wander around in the world trying different things, experiencing, and only few come to a very beautiful conclusion to their life and say, yes, I did it, and I'm accepting my mortality, my death. Why that doesn't happen? It is because of the 5 lives trauma. All of us, without exception, even so-called healthy people, they go through trauma. So the first trauma is of ancestral trauma called epigenetics from our ancestors, past generation. Second trauma is when the child is in the womb and mother is going through stresses, violence, and problems. Third trauma is the birth trauma because a child going through very narrow birth canal plus uterine spasm, it creates trauma. Fourth trauma is the trauma of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. And the last trauma, and the most unrecognized and the most universal, is social and cultural conditioning. A child which is born with a unique personality, unique energy, unique potential, ultimately becomes the part of the pattern of a religion, of a politics, of a family, tradition, customs, and so on and so forth, and almost crippled, forgets that child that I was born with some unique thing which I'm supposed to express in the world. So that is the second one in Soma, 5 traumas of life. So the third question comes, how I can undo it. What is the solution? So in Soma, we have two things. Number one, practices. And those practices, of course, yoga practice or body stretches, breathing, meditation, and also we call somato fullness. Somato fullness, just like mindfulness, we are aware of our thoughts and emotion. Here we are focusing on the messages of the body. So we coined a new term, somato fullness.
I like that.
And the last practice is our body's intimacy. If we are in a stable relationship, then somatomacy, intimacy of the body, is one of the practice in order to reverse this. So that is the practice part. And second one is understanding our innate personality. It is called dosha in Ayurveda. We modified it. So I can understand my unique original personality with which I was born and put a self-care plan. So in a way, it will be 24 hours practice. How much sleep is needed? What kind of exercise? How much? Food, my work, my relationship, my clothes. So the practices and personality is the way to slowly removing those trauma. And the last one is what will be my experience? And we start with sensations of the energy in the body. And then gradually, when these sensations fill up the body, it becomes sensuality. We have a sensual body without sex. And finally, this energy, bioenergy, physical energy, breaks the boundary of the body and merges into universal biological energy.
Mm.
So as you can see, Soma is not just one thing, it is the whole
Yes.
set of
Yes. Incredible. I it seems like, can you tell me what the main styles of yoga or types of yoga that you practice that then helped you to form this very holistic approach? Because it sounds like you did make mention of with Shivananda yoga. Obviously, there was a hatha yoga practice, but then I know there's or from what I understand, there's you have contact with bhakti yoga and devotion, but it even sound like tantra yoga in relation to this sensuality without sex, or this feeling of like pleasure perhaps in the body. Do you feel like you're being able to, because you've had so many years of practice and deep practice being in a monastery, that this where all this is generating from, and where you've gotten this foundation from?
That's right. Uh, Before that, I would like to mention that whatever we do is connected with science. So our system of Soma is non-religious and even non-spiritual. It is not mystical, it is not metaphysical, it is biological and connecting with science. So that is one fact.
I like that.
Yeah. What kind of yoga? We have to invent a new type of yoga. So somatic yoga actually is person-centered. It is based on the wisdom of the body. So there is no instructor truly in this kind of yoga.
Mm,
So people who participate in this yoga, they feel their body, and based on that feeling, they will take a posture. They will sustain it between 20 to 40 seconds, remain aware about the body, and then they will break it and relax for 10 to 20 seconds, take the second posture. So that is how we do total of 9, 3 in standing, 3 in sitting, 3 in lying down, but completely come from the participant, not from the instructor.
that's cool.
Yeah. And the answering to the second question, Yes, it was almost 26 years ago when this so-called bliss or sensuality happened to me. Uh, it was September 7, I remember, and I woke up. I was in Canada, and my body was filled with this extraordinary energy. Same energy which I experienced in 1984, but in a milder form. And with that came bliss.
Mm.
So since 1996, it never left me. Intermittently, it disappears. If there is a crisis, I become oblivious, but it comes again. And this bliss is again very biological. It has nothing to do with anything mystical again. It is the result of the reward or pleasure center in our brain and each cell of the body. So if you study neurobiology, our body and brain is the largest pharmacy containing all the molecules, hormones, and chemicals which will give us peace, passion, and bliss. So my body vibrates like a tuning fork almost 24 hours, and that vibration is like a pleasure, it's like a very gentle bliss, and sometimes it becomes very strong. But nonetheless, it is always there, and it is a result of awakening of the body. Each cell of the body, which contains cannabis, dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, and so on and so forth, became activated.
Wow. That's amazing. So based off what you're, well, first, I really love that it sounds like you're somehow blending all of the lore of yoga in relation to spirituality and or kundalini and these elements with this very grounded and like you use the term like Buddha style uh awareness where there's not a lot of extra attention on a god or a religion or a certain spiritual idea. Like it seems very practical what you're saying. And it also sounds to me like you're saying everybody has this as their underlying makeup. Our brains are full of all of these pleasure sort of chemicals and biology that if we just somehow experience it or feel it, so then how do you explain to say me the layman coming in and I'm the first time I've really never come across any sort of these ideas before. I've never done any study or practice. I come study with you. Do you feel like do you have and you have these certain practices that you're teaching me? You said like I'm not going to tell you which pose to do, but I want you just to assume some sort of position and pay attention to how you feel. And then we stop and then we take a little break and we try again, which I like that idea because it seems like a lot of times yoga teachers are saying, here, copy me. And here's a move and just do this move and follow this move or and I like the fact that you're working off this intuitive knowledge or almost like trying to go straight into the intuition right away or I don't know if intuition is the right word but that like really trying to get folks to feel what's happening no matter what they're doing no matter what position they're in. So I guess when you have that person that is really traumatized, do you still feel that everybody has this potential?
Absolutely. Because what happens in trauma, a lot of stress hormones are released, and they are released for a very long time. So all those stress hormones, they start changing biochemistry of our brain and the body. So body's natural rhythms, which is called homeostasis or natural balance of the body, is disturbed. So each cell basically is retaining the memory of the trauma, and there are researches about it. So even if we are thinking of the trauma, our emotions and thoughts are converted into molecules. In fact, Candace Pert from United States wrote a book about it, Molecules of Emotions. So whole of our body and brain are modified because of the one or other type of trauma. So we cannot access natural biological rhythm of the body because it is not functioning in its natural way. So what we want to do, we want to unclog the body and the brain through either practices or through understanding our original personality.
Yes.
And once the unclogging starts, we start experiencing this homeostasis, natural balance. And one of the experiences is high energy. We start gaining our energy from inside. We experience this passion and the sense of rapture or ecstasy or bliss. And with this surplus energy, some creativity. So that process starts. And eventually, when this energy inside us from trickle to the stream to becomes a massive river, it just washes away the body, each cell of the body, and leave us with that original biological rhythm.
Wow.
We are healed.
Beautiful. Can you tell me then what your feelings are in relation to soma and children and adults?
That's right. Uh, Unfortunately, our spiritual traditions or yogic traditions, they were mainly focused on adults, not knowing that before the age of 8 years, almost 80 to 90% personality of a child is completed. Means that after age of 8 to 9 years, whatever happens is basically unfolding of those years. So of course we can transform adults can transform them, but it is much more difficult because they are carrying this pattern for such a long time that this is etched in their brain and body. So they can make changes. But here, if we are talking about transformation, it is difficult. So that is why we thought, we are working with adults for last so many years, but we have to work with children. So Soma parenting is the second part. So there is a Soma program for the adults and Soma parenting for children. It is about children. We don't talk to children directly because from our point of view, parents are the main educators because before the age of 8, they are in intimate contact. So if they are trained well, if they given this idea, upbringing of their children will be different, or grandparents or carers. So that is what Soma parenting program is, and it is based on two principles: root and wings. It's a very popular term. Root means when they can be rooted in their body, because nowadays there's a big challenge to root children in their body because of the technology, because of social media, mobile and internet and so on and so forth. We are disconnecting from the body more and more. So preserving the body connection, ensuring emotional safety and security through love, cultivating a sense of abundance so they are not deficient inside, searching whole of their life, despite all their riches and billions, still they want to grab whatever comes their way, because in these people there is a lack of abundance. So that is what we call rootings. So because children have to be rooted in a family, in a culture, otherwise they will be rootless, and a rootless child suffer from many emotional, mental, and physical health problems. Rooting. And the second part is wings. That not only we root, we give them wings. So when a time comes, they could fly in the freedom, in the vast space on their own. And those wings are given to children by observing their temperament or somatic personality with which they are born. So parents become observer, watcher, and they adjust everything according to the child. So it's a very child-centered approach. So they are not like a sculptors or molders who are trying to, mold. No, they are like gardeners. They are watching. They are watching and observing and just creating a protective fence to protect them from trauma. But other than that, they are going. Creating boundary, no problem. But according to child's specific somatic personality.
Wow. That's amazing because, well, first, I love that you're taking the approach of educating the parents with the understanding that the child is going to learn from the parents best at that absorption level up until age 8, 9. So that's brilliant because it's not like you say, okay, now parents, you go over there, children, you come over here. Because like you know how like when you go to I mean personally growing up in church, it was like the parents went over here and they take the kids over there. And
Uh,
then, but I like that you're kind of is a more holistic and then the education the parents are receiving to listen and to watch the children because there's really nothing more fulfilling than personally when I see my child flourish and I'm just in awe of what they're doing and I'm not trying to do anything but just watch them. So I love that you're doing it that way. That's just and that could solve a lot of problems that occur in I hate to go down this track, but like in religious institutions where children are taken advantage of and all of that challenge. So it seems a smart route to do it this way. So I love that. I don't think I've really heard anybody articulate that like that before. That seems like a very smart move. And then I like the way that you're pointing out that they still have boundaries and you're still creating a safe space. So it's not like you're just saying, oh, kids, excuse me, kids, just go do whatever you want. And, we don't care. We're not paying attention. I'm too busy. I'm working. So, I don't have time for you. So, and letting the child develop. But, you're there, you're protecting, but you're not meddling so much. And I love the sculpting analogy too, because I feel like as a helicopter parent, we can try to control everything so much. So I think, wow, being raised as a child under this sort of under this sort of guidance would just be what an experience. Like how amazing, very cool. I like everything you're saying. What
Right.
else? What else can you add to this? What what I
Yeah.
I'm enjoying learning. So thank you.
Well, the thing is, it is going in my life because I have a granddaughter now who is 2 years old.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. What happened? She was few hours old and I was holding her. And I thought, as a grandfather, what I can give her in a very turbulent world of ours. It's a globalized world, but at all level, political, economic, social, technological level, there is a tremendous turbulence. So what I can give to this little granddaughter of mine, and then this Soma parenting emerged. So we are bringing her up, myself, my daughter, and her husband, and my wife with the same principles because we recognized her personality from the day 3 or 4. Actually, you can do it even in the womb because truly children's education starts at the moment of conception, what I call point zero, because a baby inside is all sponge absorbing all kinds of influences, very well proven by research. So actually, to me, it's not a philosophy, it's not a teaching. Every day I spend 2 hours with my granddaughter, and whatever I talk in Soma parenting is implemented uh, in her life.
Oh, yes. That's cool. I wanted to ask you, I was curious if you had children and or grandchildren, so that makes sense that you've been able to experience this directly and learn from that direct experience as opposed to reading it in a book or but I think for those that don't have children, this is great advice too because we all interact with children. So, I think everybody could benefit from this even if parenting isn't what calls, if someone isn't called to be a parent or just doesn't become a parent for whatever reason, there's so many opportunities that we could still experiment with this, obviously.
Yeah, because we can call them carers. And as far as my children were concerned, I made mistakes. And that is how I came to the conclusion that I made, many mistakes which parents make.
Yes.
But I'm not going to repeat those mistakes if possible.
Yeah.
But you are very right. Anybody can implement that for other children, even if they don't have their own.
I'm curious, Dr. Jivasu, do you have a clinic and or a gathering space where you either lead discussions, practices, classes? Are you doing everything online? How are you interacting with your community? In what way are you able to share your passion for this?
Right. I mean, before pandemic, I was traveling all over the world, and but I was mainly working in Rishikesh, India, and Hamilton, Canada. So a lot of traveling, lot of in-person meeting, very little online. But after during the COVID, we shifted everything to online, and it continued until 1 year ago when we decided, okay, we have to go and do in-person program. And we started in last 1 year. So we are doing on an average 7 to 8 programs in a week. And most of them are in English, but one is in Hindi language, Indian language, and one is in French for the people from the France. And some of them are online and some of them are in person at 2, 3 places around Toronto area.
Wonderful. And for those of us that don't live near you and or aren't in Rishikesh, we can go to your website, which is jivasu.org, and find programs or ways to study and learn some of these ideas that you're sharing.
Exactly, because that is what we do. Most of our programs are free because the idea was new teachings. We didn't want to charge anything. And even in the future, for a longer certification program, if we charge, it's going to be just administrative cost. Because idea is not making money from this. I suppose we don't need. So yes, they can approach us. There is a website. They can register for free. They can write me an email. I will respond to all their questions. So anywhere, because generally in our programs, people are from all over the world. So in a single sitting, from 2, 3 continents. So
Yes. How many languages do you speak, Dr. Jivasu? Obviously
um,
English, obviously Hindi.
yeah, and English, just two languages. My language skills are not great, so I could just speak, of course, Hindi, no problem. And then once I got married to my wife, who is Canadian, I had to speak English. Before that, I was not interested in this
Yeah. Well,
because I thought I will
yeah.
stay in India.
Yes, your English is amazing, so well done. I know it's not easy to transfer over.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's so cool, man. That's amazing.
Right.
Do you still work with acupuncture slash Chinese medicine with one-on-one patients or clients?
No, I don't, because I stopped my practice almost 8 years ago, but because I realized that I found my destiny, my purpose. I'm not wandering anymore. Absolutely everything is clear. So I have to pour all my energy into it.
Yes, yes. What do you think we need to do, Dr. Jivasu, as a globe, as a world, as a people, as a humanity, obviously, if all of us started to listen to our bodies and started to feel our bodies and started to realize that we don't need to necessarily accumulate thousands, millions, billions, that because if everything is already here in our brains and spinal columns and bodies and with our families and the amount of joy we can have holding grandchildren, children, why are we, why aren't we? How,
Yeah,
how can we fix this?
that's right. Yeah. I mean, to me, there are two core problems with our contemporary world. Number one is emotional and mental health problem, and number two, climate crisis. And they are intertwined. And there are two ways to approach it: collective action at political level, economic level, educational level, because that is collective. But collective action, we cannot be of sure because, it's beyond our control also, although we can try. But at least one person whom we can control is my own body and my own brain. And because this body and brain, I'll explain you a little bit. It is the intersection of three cosmic forces. So this body and brain are just not the matter. What are those three cosmic forces? Number one, matter, my physical frame, my bones, my flesh, my arteries, and so on and so forth. Second is energy, bioenergy, physical energy, which keeps me alive. When the energy goes out, I'm dead. And third one is consciousness, because all of us are conscious. So basically, this body and brain is the microcosmos, micro universe containing all three cosmic forces. So I can connect to any one of them. But we don't connect through metaphysical, cultural, mystical, mythical, because that may be true, that may be not true, and there is so much conflict. But at least one thing which we share with everyone is body and its three forces, regardless of color, culture, caste, religion, country, this and that. And this is something very solid. But because in the past we invested so much in the mind, in the philosophies, into systems which became poetic, which became so descriptive, that what we ignored was the body. In fact, in some system, they almost neglect the body and say the body is not the right way to start. So to me, this is such a simple, such a scientific, such a direct way, such an individual way, because this body, inside this body, my feelings are guru, and this guru is 3.8 billion years old, since the birth of first cell on this earth. All that intelligence is contained in the cellular structure of my body.
Ooh, I like that. I like that you just pulled us all the way back to 3.8. Oh, you said,
The
how,
history of this
yeah,
body.
the first cell, we are the evolution from that initial cell. Amazing.
Yeah.
Good
And
point.
this body also contains the full future potential. Because as we unclog this body, energy will flow, connect to the universal energy, and also consciousness, which is pre-existent, will shine through the body. But once my body is clogged, each cell is obscured, become opaque. Neither energy can flow nor consciousness shines through it. So this approach through the body is still we go to the same ultimate, but in a much simpler way. Just like a glass jar. Water is there, full of mud particles, sun is shining, but cannot go through it. So this is my body, a jar full of all these thoughts, memories, trauma, all constantly floating, making this body cloudy. Once we clean, this consciousness will shine through it.
Mm,
That is what we call enlightenment, samadhi, nirvana, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter.
yes. Yes. Ah, if right, like I know everyone can hear us right now, but if I were to say, Dr. Jivasu, can we practice a little bit together right now? Will we just sit in silence together? I mean, what I know we don't need to make any sort of movements or body postures but I mean, I already feel really relaxed and I'm enjoying speaking with you. So I feel your excitement and your passion through the way that you're communicating. But if
Yeah.
anybody was listening and you were to guide us into, I mean, you already are, so you don't have to do anything else, but I'm just curious, is there any other specific instruction
Yeah.
you could share to help us
I,
connect with what you're speaking of? Because I have felt that myself too, with in relation to meditation and doing long meditation retreat and having sensations in the body and feeling like, wow, I've never experienced this before. This is amazing. And it's so simple and it's just right here. So I feel 100% what you're talking about. I agree with you. And I don't have any doubts. I don't have any doubts. But I still feel sometimes that I feel that cloudiness in me and I still mull around about my own personal whatever past history and trying to come to terms with everything. And so I'm just curious what the next step is. What can I do to just kind of break on through a little deeper into this?
yeah, I mean, you want me to practice something, or
Yeah.
first of all, I will, I think, respond to your question.
Yeah, well, yeah, respond to my question, please. And then
Yeah.
whatever you
I
think.
think, as I said, what to do to unclog this body and brain and let energy flow through it like a river and let consciousness shine through
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Uh, Certain practices we talked, and I can practice just one now to give an idea what we do in Soma.
Okay.
But the second one is even more important than practice, which is self-knowledge, means your own personality. Each one of us born with a unique personality. At any point, we can pick up the thread, and that will tell us exactly uh, the kind of lifestyle, gentle changes which we can bring in our daily life to shift everything, to regain that original body of a child, which was clogged as a result of subsequent trauma. That to me the core, because very few systems discuss about it. Everybody is
Yeah.
talking about philosophy and practice, but self-knowledge begins with understanding myself, my mind and body. But that is a big exercise because it takes some time to come to that. But now, if you want, I can now practice something if you would like.
I would. That'd be great. Thank you.
It is called somatic breathing. And to tell you very quickly, our body doesn't stop at skin. Our brain maps 3 to 4 feet space around us. In neurosciences, it is called peripersonal space. Most of us lose it. So that is why we are troubled by external world so much, because there is no protective sheath around us, which is the extension of the body. So somatic breathing is to reclaim this space. So it becomes like a mobile meditation cell. Wherever we go, in the marketplace, flight, crisis, it will be there with us. In yoga, it is called asmita. That is why Patanjali's Yoga Sutra mentioned sa asmita samadhi. That samadhi basically reclaiming this space spontaneously. How we can practice it? By breathing slow and deep. And with each inhalation, our arms, they go up above our head slowly. And as we are breathing out, we make an arc, a circle around the body by extending our arms and coming down. So inhalation up, fully stretched above our head, and exhalation coming down. And this space is called peripersonal space. And it was so beautifully diagrammed by Leonardo da Vinci. If you remember the human, because he was aware of it, every single artist, musician, painter, healer is aware of this space. So now we can practice for a few minutes.
Yes.
So please close your eyes softly. Relax your shoulders. Your hands and feet are soft. Your back straight but not tense. Bringing your attention to your breath as you inhale and exhale. And now your breathing becomes a little more slow, a little more deep, but remains gentle. Slow, deep, and gentle breathing, finding your natural pace and rhythm so you are not strained by it. And now, with this slow, deep breathing during inhalation, slowly raising your arm, taking them above your head, fully stretched. And as you exhale, bringing them down, forming an arc or circle around your body. Bringing them to their original position on your thighs or knees. So we are going to harmonize slow breathing with the movements of your arms. So repeating it with deep inhalation, slowly and gently taking your arm above your head, fully stretched. And with exhalation, bringing them down, forming an arc and a circle. Feel that arc or circle because that is your personal space. Again, slow and deep inhalation. Arm is going up, fully stretched above your head. Coming down, forming circular arc. And bringing them to original position. So please continue few more times with your natural rhythm, comfort. You are aware of your arms movement and also a space which you are encircling, you are reclaiming. Once this space is established around you, external disturbances, other people's emotions, thoughts will be reflected back. And within this space, you will remain calm, peaceful, relaxed. And of course, you can continue for any number of minutes, but here we will relax, stopping the movements. Breathing will become normal, but now you are feeling the peripersonal space, 3 to 4 feet space, which you encircled by your arms. You are in your presence. And with establishing this space, you will always remain in your presence, your asmita. Feeling it for another minute. And then slowly opening our eyes.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you, God.
I'm really appreciative, Dr. Jivasu. What a wonderful introduction. I'm so happy to meet you. Thank you.
I'm so happy to meet you also and do this conversation.
And a beautiful ending to it as well. I'm really pleased that we could practice with you a little bit. Thank you.
And yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to say a few lines.
Yes, please.
It's about right care. It's about Soma. Right care for my body, feelings, intellect, and wisdom. Right care for my family, community, country, and earth. Let this right care come from a sense of love, oneness, and action. Let this right care bring me the bliss of conscious living. I affirm it, I affirm it, I affirm it in my authenticity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.